Welcome back. Welcome everyone to JW World News. Sorry for keeping you waiting. We're just getting all our stuff in order. There was some late news that came in early this morning, and so we wanted to attach it to this broadcast. Normally we just run through a bunch of news stuff all over the world, but there's this thing on the UN chairman and the UN who is in bed with JW.org. So we're going to open that up. We're going to show you all the searches. I'm excited to get into this. Thanks for being with us, Ruby. You've got a couple of good stories on the go. So
I do. And I also have a personal story too.
Great. Well, let's get right into it. Should I whip through a few of these Watchtower stories? This is from
Yes.
Thanks for Watching Watchtower. We broadcast their news every Friday just to kind of keep up onto it. And they have a channel. We recommend that anybody out there that wants to subscribe, they should, to Watching Watchtower. They're watching Watchtower 24/7. And this particular article is Jehovah's Witnesses deleted shunning videos in the news in Denmark. Have you heard that one, Ruby?
Nope, I don't think so.
So I heard some whiffs of this online. So let's look at this and see what they uncovered.
How to find this information.
Extra Bladette. You got one on them too, eh?
Jehovah's Witnesses delete controversial expulsion video. A video that was decisive for Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway losing their recognition as a religious community has now been deleted from the movement's website. Now Extra Bladette can bring the video.
That seems to be the one that has been in the US, Canada, all over the world.
A controversial eviction video has been deleted from the international website of Jehovah's Witnesses. The deletion of the video takes place in the wake of the Ministry of Church Affairs having initiated an oversight case against the religious community recognized in Denmark. In 2021, Jehovah's Witnesses in Norway lost their recognition as a religious community. One of the reasons was...
So we'll just run through this really quick. So we know all about the Norway one. Some of us may have seen the video. I wonder if they play the video a little bit. They don't. So that was the shunning video. There's the picture of it. What was her name? She's famous. Do you remember her name? Sophie? Or no? Yeah, I forget.
No, I don't.
Anyways, maybe some from the audience can help us out. But yeah, they're deleting videos. That tells you, tells me, anyways, that they're what's going on. They're afraid. They're afraid of the government, so they're going to make changes. Okay, the next one is some that letter of appeal. I made a video on this. A lot of people have. So they did a letter of appeal to the the decisions on the denial of the state subsidies. They're after the money.
Yeah.
And so they did this letter of appeal. We're writing you concerning the ongoing legal case. This is how it said, but it got the date wrong, February 2024. Well, the case isn't going to be heard until 2025. So I don't know if they'll just throw the letter out. We'll be, of course, running news on this in February, see what happens. But that's what this is. They sent this in and they, in my opinion, twisted the letter. We can attach this to this news item. So we don't have a lot of time today because we want to get into the UN thing. So this we have ran on videos on, and I'll make an attachment to it. You probably know all about that, Ruby, this video?
Yeah, I saw the translation into English, and I saw a video that Awakened Troops did on it. A lot of XJW YouTubers are doing it, which is a good thing. We need to expose Watchtower, right? That's the whole point.
Exactly.
And how they are trying to get these governments to give them money or to reinstate their title as a religion in that country so that they could get money. It's always about money. So if we can continue exposing that, that's what we're here for.
So you know what I noticed, Watchtower? Watchtower doesn't get back to people forever, and you
Right.
got to almost take them to Supreme Court to get them to talk, and then they go silent in court. Well, here they're asking, they want a response right here.
If possible, we kindly request a response within 3 weeks from the date of this letter. By no
The voice is crazy.
Listen, they got the date wrong. Listen,
November 14th, 2024. Did you ever?
they want to know by November 14th. So what day is it?
It is the 8th of November.
So we're gonna see if what happens. Anyways, we should move on. Okay, the next one is one of Jehovah's Witnesses is charged with SA on 7 girls. Do we want to run that one?
Yes, I think that is one of my stories. So yeah, definitely you can play that, and then I'll bring up and I'll show the article as well.
Okay, so I'll just put it on big. It's 4 minutes. Do you want me to run it through, or most of it? You lead. I'll just I'm going to silence myself and I'll run the video. You lead. Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen that 4-minute video you have there. Okay. So yeah, go ahead if you want to play it.
Okay.
Yep.
Anni di abusi su 7 bambine. Scandalo in comunità.
Oh, is it Italian?
It'll probably go
Years
English.
of abuse on 7 girls.
Oh, okay.
Scandal in community, a follower on trial. Violence among Jehovah's Witnesses. A 41-year-old charged with aggravated sexual assault, silence, and dismay from the families. Florence, November 1st, 2024. A waking nightmare. A story that is difficult to tell and even more difficult to accept. 7 girls, all of foreign origin, all minors, the youngest was born in 2008, the oldest in 2004, were abused by a man, 31 years old at the time of the events, for 4 consecutive years. This is the investigation carried out by the Florence Prosecutor's Office and which arrived yesterday, before investigating Judge Gianluca Mancuso. The drama begins in 2014, both the families of the girls and the alleged rapist are Jehovah's Witnesses. And it is in one of the Kingdom Halls, a sort of church of the religious movement, scattered around the Florentine territory that the relatives of the victims meet the young man born and raised in the Florentine hinterland. Despite his age, he is an important member of the community and regularly attends meetings at the place of worship. Piece by piece, according to what has been reconstructed by the investigations, he begins to gain the trust of the parents, then that of the girls.
Okay, can you pause it there?
Which is nurtured within the religious community.
Yeah, the only reason why I wanted to pause it there is because it gets a little explicit with details, and I don't want to put that out there if it's triggering to anyone. But basically, it is CSA. Unfortunately, it was 7 minors, 7 girls, and so I mean, this is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that this person hasn't been a witness for almost 6 years. The article says. We were deeply shocked to read about the acts of violence to which some of the members in our religious community have been subjected. They write in a statement, the person under investigation is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. He was expelled from the congregation in December 2018. The protection of children is of the utmost concern and importance to all Jehovah's Witnesses, and we are grateful to the Attorney General's office for the valuable work it is doing. So I'm going to include a link to that article, which you can read for yourself. But I just want to point that out. This is what they say every single time. They always say that children are the utmost importance. They always denounce the abuse. They say the right things, but they don't do the right things. Like, who cares if he wasn't a Jehovah's Witness for 6 years, or, oh, we're so shocked that this happened. He was already expelled. Like, this should have never happened. But it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, take accountability and understand that despite that might be a fact. right? If he was disfellowshipped or he was removed, he still did what he did, and he did it under your nose, like as a religious organization. So they never take accountability for that. And they always want to brush it off like, oh yeah, we took care of the problem. We disfellowshipped that person. We removed him from our congregation. We're so shocked. No, I don't care about your like religious reasoning for removing a person. A crime was committed, not just a sin. Like they just treat it like as a sin. And we've seen that in this community. So many stories of that happening. And that's exactly why I do CSA stories with stories like this, because that's what happened to my uncle. Yeah, he was disfellowshipped. Yeah, he had to register as an offender, but guess what? He was reinstated and he was allowed to go back into the Kingdom Hall. People they continued association with this pedophile, but they shun an apostate like me, right? So this is why I don't care when they say, oh, he's been removed or he hasn't been a witness for 6 years. Like don't even bring that part up, because he's not even technically a member of us anymore. It doesn't matter, because you people would reinstate somebody like this, knowing that he abused 7 girls, knowing that these people were either a murderer, or that they got converted in from jail, or you know what I'm saying? Like they just consider it like, oh, a mistake. Oh, he's so sorry. He's repentant. Let's welcome him back. No, I reject that right there.
I'm in agreement with you 100%. They don't want to take responsibility for what happened under their watch. That guy was under their watch. He was taking kids back and forth to the Kingdom Hall. It happened in the parking lots, and it happened in the Kingdom Hall itself under their watch.
Right.
They had a
Right.
pedophile. They thought he was exemplary because he attended meetings. That's why we know it's a bullshit organization, and this organization has no business monitoring any of this stuff. Rip this out of your elders book, jw.org, if you're watching, and get on with life and let the professionals look after child crimes and report them. It's
Right.
that simple. That's simple. You get a whiff of this stuff in your congregation, report it. No tolerance. Protect the
Right.
children, protect the victims. That's what Jesus did. Protect the victims, protect the children. Look after the orphans and widows. Okay, the next article, former Jehovah's Witness elder appeals 4 years prison sentence. Do we want to cover that one?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Wow. I didn't hear about this.
You're not in North Korea.
Jehovah's Witnesses officer sexually assaults teenager. They were lovers. Appeals. November 1st, 2024. Going around the church and denying all sexual crimes. Seoul. News FIM. Reporter Shin Soo-young. A 50-year-old executive of the religious group Jehovah's Witnesses, a conscientious objector to military service, committed sexual crimes against minors and others while visiting churches. According to a News FIM report on the 1st, Mr. Park, 50, a Jehovah's Witness executive who was convicted of sexually assaulting a minor and a believer, appealed the verdict. The victims are now in a position where they have to fight for nearly 10 years. One of the victims was a 16-year-old high school student at the time of the incident. Mr. Park is denying all the crimes, claiming that he was in a romantic relationship with the victim, and is using a large law firm to defend him. No efforts to recover damages.
Law firm.
Victims suffer legal battles. Western District Court. Elder Park, a Jehovah's Witness who was arrested and indicted on charges of forced molestation and violation of the Act on the Protection of Children and Youth from Sexual Abuse, Harassment by Hierarchy, etc., appealed the verdict on the 28th. An appeal means requesting a retrial from a higher court rather than following a lower court's decision. Earlier, on the 25th, the 11th Criminal Division of the Seoul Western District Court, presiding Judge Bae Sung-young, sentenced Mr. Park to 4 years in prison and detained him in court. This was because he was at risk of fleeing. The court also ordered him to complete a 40-hour sexual violence treatment program and restricted him from working at child and youth-related institutions and welfare.
Turn my mic back on. You see, that's what has to happen. And here it is, the court's doing this, but these religions, all of these religions, especially Jehovah's Witnesses, because they're not taking responsibility, they're not admitting they have an issue. They need to admit it to the public, admit it to the world, and they need to implement this kind of stuff. Get them into sexual violence courses, treatment programs that are not done by themselves, but are done by professional institutes. Check these guys in, help people out, jw.org, instead of covering it up with sand and saying we're so righteous. Well, you know what happened to the ones in the Bible that covered over their sins with sand? It gets revealed. And and Jehovah's Witnesses, jw.org, is being revealed in this stuff. It's just amazing. I didn't know any of this was going on down in Korea. Did you?
I did not. And I don't know what the like legal age of consent is in Korea, but 16 is like in some states in the United States that is consensual, but in my opinion it shouldn't. I think it should be like maybe 18 or 21 and over. You know what I mean? Like you need to be 21 to drink alcohol. You need 18 to have a license, or like you know, like you can't participate in certain things if you're a minor. So
is he an elder, do you think? Like it says Elder Park.
And I think that's what they also meant by executive, because he probably was a high position. It's just like the translation might say executive, or I think maybe he was. I'm gonna look into that actually.
It says he maneuvered himself from congregation to congregation. He didn't do it just to one person. So there's no way it was love, right? Love is with one person.
Right, exactly. Because when they get found out that they're a shady person or a fishy person, they'll just switch congregations, and that's how people get to hide under the radar for so long. And I've seen these types of people, but we used to always just brush it off as, oh, brother and so is having a hard time, or this congregation is not like in his age group or her age group, or they don't feel comfortable, so they just move away. You know what I mean? Like they always used to like justify that. And now that I'm an adult, I'm thinking, oh, maybe it was for bigger reasons than just not having friends in this hall, or they were uncomfortable with rumors or gossip. Like they always try to brush it off like that. But I think this is what it is. They got found out. They were probably doing something they weren't supposed to do, and then they get switched.
Here's their statement right here. Jehovah's Witnesses denied it, like their public information department. Yeah, they say we didn't know the incident had occurred because the victim didn't tell us, and it's in the domain of the judicial authorities. Did I almost do it the same? That's how they talk. It's just they do nothing to help their people except hide it. So this is good that it's all coming out. People know that this religion is not this righteous religion, like the UN guy there is going to say.
You see right there. You in that last clip where you had just paused, it said, oh, following, this Jehovah's Witness so-and-so, he was immediately removed from the elders. That's their quick fix. Just remove him as an elder, just remove him as a Jehovah's Witness, and then now I don't have any responsibility because they're not even a member of our congregation anymore. We don't have anything to do with it. And it's like, no, at the time that this took place, he was an elder. He was a member of your congregation, and it mattered enough that the reporter is saying, oh, they include, oh, he was a Jehovah's Witness. So that's a problem. And you guys are not addressing that this happened under your nose, in your kingdom hall, in your church, and they don't take accountability for that.
Oh, yeah. Ruby, you have an echo on your live stream.
Yeah, so I hear it sometimes, but I just hear it in the background. But I don't hear it anymore. It's like in and out.
Okay. Now, here's what they did. Jehovah's Witnesses changed their story. They said a Jehovah's Witness official explained after the victim raised the issue, Mr. Parks was immediately removed from the elders. So they didn't remove him from the congregation. He was just removed as an
Good
elder.
question. Good question. And you know what? That's kind of rare that just because you get one accusation, you just get removed off the elders, because that doesn't really happen anywhere else.
Right.
You need to have two witnesses. Like they always put something,
And they
before
hide it.
they, right.
See the internal. It says the internal documents are confidential, so they can hide it.
Right.
So
That's
it's
another
all covered up. They covered this up as much as they could. That's what
Yeah.
their information department does. The court ruled that he used his religious position to exploit the victims as a means to satisfy sexual desires,
Correct.
and that Mr.
I
Park
believe
did
that.
not make any efforts to restore the damages, and the victims asked for the defendant to be severely punished. In August, the victims filed a petition for severe punishment. Good
Good.
on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets severely punished, and hopefully they sue the ass. Someone sues the ass off jw.org for allowing all this crap. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move forward. What else is here? This is 24 days before Jody Jadell became a member of the body of Jehovah's Witnesses. He evicted. I didn't see this one. He evicted someone.
For
Okay.
same Jody Jadell that is now a member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses? This Jody Jadell, that is a plaintiff in this summary ejectment case, is definitely the same Jody Jadell, that is now a member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. Jody Jadell versus Joshua Andrea Garner. Case type: Civil Magistrate Summary Ejectment. Summary Ejectment. What is eviction? Eviction is a type of court case. In North Carolina, an eviction case is called summary ejectment. Landlords can file to legally remove a tenant-rented property if the tenant has failed to pay rent, violated the lease agreement, or if other conditions apply. This complaint in summary ejectment was filed on August 30, 2024. 36 days before it was announced that Jody Jadell is now a member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
When the
Everything hidden
total
will
amount
be
of rent
revealed.
due was $309.
For $300?
Yeah. Well, he's got his mitts into property, and they're supposed to take a vow of poverty, those guys.
Summary ejectment. Filed by plaintiff Jody Jadell on September 11, 2024. 24 days before it was announced that Jody Jadell is now a member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, he filed against to evict someone.
He sued. He did a civil suit to collect
Judgment in
$300 off
action for
the
summary
renter.
ejectment. There is no
He-
dispute as to the amount of rent in arrears, and the amount is $1,064.87.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this governing body member has properties all over his yin yang, and he's making all kinds of money. This is just one rental person. If this person was a Jehovah's Witnesses and he launched a civil suit on them, he went against their own policy, because all civil suits are supposed to be handled in the elders' room. But this guy's suing for money. He's a money hungry rat. And that's who's in your governing body, JW.org. He's now exposed. There you go. Thank you, Watchtower. I have nothing more to say. What do you have to say?
Wow.
What a scum.
It
Okay,
is ordered that the defendants be removed from and the plaintiff be put in possession of the premises described in the complaint.
great news. Like they're catching stuff. Everyone's catching stuff.
Yes. Some people are saying that there's no sound, but I hear you and I hear myself good.
Okay.
Okay. Someone
Mute
can
my
hear
mic.
now.
I'll be muting my mic in between the music or the watchtower.
Okay.
Okay, this next one is Jehovah's Witnesses lose a case at the European Court of Human Rights. We ran a video on that.
Yes, that was my
See if
next article as well. Yep.
Sure. Okay, do you want to talk about it and we won't play it, or do you want to play any of this?
Yeah, I will share the article because I was going to actually read it. It's really short and
Okay, you go ahead and read it, and we'll just let you go ahead. I'll move this off the screen. There. Now they
okay.
can see us.
Okay, am I sharing the screen? Okay, I am.
You can. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, our favorite news outlet, Extra Bladet, posted this on November 5th. Jehovah's Witnesses lose at the Court of Human Rights. And I was like, oh, did they? Because, I'm always talking about human rights and how they have violated our rights. And so this says a case dating back to 2014 has now come to an end. The European Court of Human Rights has ruled that a doctor was allowed to give an unconscious patient a blood transfusion, even if he was a member of Jehovah's Witnesses and did not want to. And we did bring this up a couple of times, and it was my position as well that they should value life over anything, and if they needed blood, they should be able to get it. So the article says Jehovah's Witnesses have strict rules about what you can and cannot do. One of those things that you definitely can't do is to receive blood. It is better to go to the grave bravely than to receive a potentially life-saving blood transfusion. Let me put my glasses on. It says Extra Bladet has previously described how Jehovah's Witnesses paid tribute to a deceased Danish boy because he refused to receive blood. Now, a similar case, stretching all the way back to 2014, has been concluded. The 67-year-old Jehovah's Witness, Leif Lindholm, fell off a ladder and then had to go to the hospital. Doctors at Odense University Hospital tried to save his life and therefore gave him a blood transfusion, even though Lindholm did not want it for religious reasons and had a blood card in his pocket as a sign of this. Now it has been established that the doctor was allowed to give the unconscious patient a blood transfusion, even though he was a member of Jehovah's Witnesses and did not want a blood transfusion. The European Court of Human Rights has just ruled on this in a case against Denmark. The blood card states that the patient did not want to receive blood under any circumstances because he was a member of Jehovah's Witnesses. Since then, Jehovah's Witnesses have filed a lawsuit with the European Court of Human Rights. It concluded that the doctors acted as they should. In 2022, the case was also dismissed at the Supreme Court because the court did not believe that the patient's rights had been violated. The widow of the now deceased husband felt that her husband's right to private and family life, as well as freedom of religion, had been violated. So she continued the trial, but once again, the verdict was not in favor of Jehovah's Witnesses. And then they go and they show you what the blood card looks like, talks a little bit about it. And it says he was carrying that blood card. The blood transfusion did not save the 67-year-old man. He passed away a few weeks after the fall in 2014. So you see, we talk about this a lot because I understand religious beliefs, right? Like freedom of religion. You have the freedom to believe in whatever you want. I advocate for that. But when it comes to life or death, you should not let your religion like kill you off like that. You know what I mean? Like to give you misinformation about a scripture, like a wrong interpretation of a scripture that can dictate whether or not you live or die. That's where it kind of draws the line for me, that's not a religion anymore. That's a cult.
No, Jesus was about life, not death. Yeah, Jesus is about life, not death. That's the blood card's obsolete now. You see, the blood card was designed for if you're unconscious, and it was your power of attorney. Well, the courts are saying, well, this has gone right up the ladder to ECHR, Human Rights Court in Europe, the European Human Rights Court. They brought that up in Europe as far as they can, and a lot all over the world. We look at that. We look at that. The whole world looks at those courts. So that court said, you know what? Throw your blood card out. It's obsolete. When someone comes in unconscious and if they need blood, and if we know they're a JW, we're going to do everything we can not to give them blood. But if it's out of our control and we got to keep them alive, we're going to give them a bag of blood to jump up their hemoglobin. It's their blood count. And the blood count can only get so low. This guy's blood count, they left it for 4 days. It dropped all the way from 8 all the way down to 3.1. And then the doctor says, well, I'm not doing my job if I don't do what I can. So finally, after day 4, he gave him 1 bag of blood. It brought his blood count up to 4.5, kept the guy living, but the guy never came out of consciousness. But the guy fell through a roof, off a roof, through the roof, hit the floor, hemorrhaged his head, hemorrhaged his shoulder on the side he landed, and hemorrhaged his head. He was bleeding in 3 places internally, and he was on blood thinners. He was 67 years old. We're all on blood thinners, us old guys. I'm on blood thinners. I had to quit them. But be careful. A baby aspirin a day, you can bleed to death. Be careful, guys. But anyways, that's good coverage. Thank you for bringing that up. Blood cards are obsolete now, folks. Throw them out.
Yeah.
Because it's for when you're unconscious. The courts are saying, no, we're going to keep you alive. We don't care about your cultish blood card. And they didn't say it like that. That's me. I say things harsh. Okay, here's one for you. It's in Canada. And in Canada, thank you to Watching Watchtower. They're following this. The BC Humanist Association is standing up for Jehovah's Witnesses in Canada here. So I emailed the guy, thanked him. He emailed me back, said, keep up the good work. These guys they're humanists, right? These guys believe in human rights. And if you want your file out of Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't get it. They're taking it all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of BC said, yeah, we can look at it. Jehovah's Witnesses basically said, F you in legal terms and said, you're not getting it. So let's see what happened. I didn't watch this, but I'm curious to see what happened.
Humanist Association. Humanists argue for ex-religious privacy rights at BC Court of Appeal. October 30, 2024. Lawyers argued over the constitutionality of BC's privacy law at the BC Court of Appeal yesterday in an ongoing dispute between the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner of BC. The BCHA was able to bring the voice of those who've chosen to dissociate from religion to the court. The case began several years ago when 2 former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses, JW, requested records held by their former congregations in Grand Forks and Coldstream under BC's privacy law, PIPA. The JWs believe their religion requires the records to be kept confidential and have fought the required disclosure to the Privacy Commissioner, arguing the privacy law is unconstitutional. The BCHA intervened at the Supreme Court of BC in September 2023. That court dismissed the JW's petition and that decision was appealed. Yesterday, the Court of Appeal heard those arguments. Our arguments, presented by our pro bono counsel John Truman and Chloe Trudell, walked through our perspectives on freedom, consent and religion, assessing the severity of the claimed charter infringement in this case, and how the court might balance that infringement against the importance of privacy rights. We suggest that PIPA recognizes the inherent power imbalance between organizations and individuals. Far from being a state intrusion into the private affairs of religious congregations, PIPA tries to protect individuals, members and non-members, from having their personal information used, or misused, without their consent. Unfortunately, the court does not record, nor permit, recordings of its proceedings. However, we posted a few updates throughout the proceedings to threads, including our brief arguments.
I did a little bit more research on it because it is Canada and we are moving to BC, British Columbia. So the reason you want to get your records out of Jehovah's Witnesses for anybody out there is because you don't want Jehovah's Witnesses counting you as a seat, just that you're kind of still with them. Maybe you just quit going and you think that you're done with them. You're not. They're counting you as a seat. They're getting charitable benefits on you. You're part of their whole list. If there's a list going into the UN when they want to take over the world with the Jehovah's Witnesses, we'll see what happens. But Pippa says there's lots of people on the outside that do not believe in a one world government like Jehovah's Witnesses do. These guys, Pippa is an organization designed to help you get your information, protect your information, protect your any of your information, credit card information, anything like that. So if you've been a Jehovah's Witness, they have your credit card information, they have your debit card. I've had people on my channel comment and say we can't get our mom's information off. The mom maybe became incompetent. She couldn't manage her bank account, so the kids took over. The kids aren't JWs, and they could not stop JW.org from pulling money out of their mom's account. You see what happens, folks? It's so important that we get our information out of this group because they are money suckers, money sucking scoundrels. Believe me, you. Okay, so that's that. That's what's going on there. Next, what do you have? Anything else? This is one more. A Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses sold September 24, demolished. So they like to cover that. These guys, they like to show how they're demolishing, selling property for money. They don't care. We dedicated these kingdom halls to Jehovah. Jehovah is such a big thing. Armageddon was coming before this kingdom hall will ever wear out. Do you remember those days? Well, I do. I've been in it for a lot of years, since the 80s. And that's what they used to say. But now all these buildings that the rank and file built, and they used to be owned, by the way, by the local congregation. They used to own these buildings. And they worked for it, and people donated, and it was their congregation. And then it was owned by the Canadian branch, and now New York owns it all. They did a hostile takeover. They're destroying it. They're selling property, and they're using the rank and file as free labor to build new 65-seaters in Canada. That's what's going on here. So we're watching them. Everyone's watching them. You didn't dedicate that to Jehovah. You dedicated that to a real estate company. So once we all figure that out, we'll be a lot farther ahead. Okay, what else do you have, Ruby?
Well, just to go back to what you just mentioned about being an empty seat or like a number, especially as baptized members, because just like I think Michelle, I think that's her name, Michelle says here, the world is a stage. She says, my question is, do they keep records if you were only an unbaptized publisher? Good question. You should definitely ask. And I would write a letter just in case, because a lot of people just think, oh, I'm just gonna fade, I'm just gonna move on with my life. Who cares? And I totally agree with you. But Watchtower is still gonna count you because you were on their books. You got baptized. They have your birth date, your name, the date you got baptized, like you just mentioned. And I was thinking, oh, I'll probably get rebaptized at this new church, become a member of there. I won't worry about that, the Jehovah's Witness baptism, because it doesn't mean anything to me. Like I get it. But I would still write that letter of disassociation so that they do not continue to count me as a member, because I technically am still a member. I was never removed. I was never disfellowshipped. I just faded, and they just like unofficially marked me as an apostate, but they still can count me, and I don't want them to do that. So definitely think about writing your disassociation letters, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So maybe we could do it together and mail it in together. Let's have a whole batch of of letters going into Watchtower. Maybe that could be like a New Year resolution. So if anybody wants to do that, I'll do it with you, and I will mail it like with you guys. We can do it together, and we don't have to be counted anymore as a member.
Now here's another little reminder. You can go to the Google the Google address for your Kingdom Hall, and you can put in Google comments and tell the truth. Tell why
Yeah.
all you're going to see is a bunch of 5-star comments from members that don't even say anything, or they just say fluff. But go and give some real experiences there. And I think the more we do that, they can't remove it. You tell the truth, just tell the truth. That's all you do. Say it the way it is. I did it actually for about 4 Kingdom Halls I was at, because I kept moving because elders were trying to get into bed with my ex-wife, and they did. So I moved. I couldn't handle it. And then I moved, and then it happened again and again. So, it just got worse. It got worse. A doctor did it once. A doctor.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? I sued him.
Yeah.
I sued him, and he paid me out in a week, and I went and bought a new car. We bought 2 new cars, but she fooled around with the doctor. I went to see him personally. I called my lawyer. They said, don't go and don't go. I said, fuck you. I'm going to deal with this today. And I went and dealt with it. I sat in his office until he closed. He walked around with me, convinced me that my ex-wife was crazy and she needed to go to an institute. And so then I called her right there in front of him, and she said, oh. And then I looked at him, and we went for a walk. He spilled his guts, told me everything that happened. We came back, and my cell phone started to beep because the battery went low. I had one of those mics. It was a weird yellow looking thing. I was running a business. So I said, I got to go. And he thought I recorded. He said, you recorded me, didn't you? And I said, no, it's just a cell phone. I put it back in my coat. And he said, no, you recorded me. So he thought I recorded him. I went to the lawyer, made my testament. He paid me out in a week. And I bought a new car. And the ex got paid out. She had to go in and sign all too. She had to say what happened. It all got done through the courts. I was a JW. I was mumbling my way through that organization, trying to do things their way. But I never ever took that to the elders. I kept that out of the elders. I dealt with it myself. It was the end of it. But anyways, it's a dicey world out there, folks, and you're not going to find solstice in a JW congregation. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's
Now,
messy. It gets messy.
It might feel like it. Now I want to show you guys some Twitter stuff. I follow Twitter. A lot of good stuff comes out. Larchwood, he brought up some stuff on Jadel. But we're looking at these guys. These guys are the other guys running property. The other governing body member. He's suing. He just did a lawsuit, right? Kick had to evict someone because he has all this property that he makes money on. These guys have no vow property. That's how we know it, guys. Everyone out there knows it. Martin Haw, my son Sam would have turned 22 today. So
yes, I remember him and his story.
Yeah. So Martin has done a lot of work for the community. Larchwood, this is where Larchwood got me looking at JW versus Norway. They hired an expert to write a report. But before we look at this, you got to look at this guy. Larchwood posted this. Look at his suntan, eh? Right? This is Let.
He probably has makeup
not
on.
Let, but what's his name? Loesch. So what about here?
I was just about to say that. They got a lot of makeup on that he's gonna look like Donald.
He could be a lookalike. He worked on it. Cheeks are a little high. Anyways, I thought that was funny. So I clicked this JW versus Norway, hired an expert, just doing my usual apostate stuff. And up pops this. And you see all the headers at the top? This is where I went. I'm going to take you guys on a quick little journey. Oh, we're only 45 minutes in. So this is the journey that got me going. So I clicked all these links. Some guy off Reddit, Frode Commode, don't know who he is. I don't really follow Reddit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
anyway, someone does.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't really go to Reddit that much.
This guy says Watchtowers has bought a trigger warning, downplays JW shunning is something most religious to do anyways. Nothing special about it. Link to the original letter. In Norway, Watchtower has used the same scholar before. They know what they get from him. and it linked this article. And anyways, this is what we're up against: a multinational corporation with cash to spend for top lawyers and hired academics, like any company doing lobbyism. The irony is that they're working so hard against the truth. They're working so hard. Our truth about JW shunning.
Could be Jan Nielsen.
Could be Frode Commode, Jan Frode Nielsen, maybe.
I'm just wondering.
Don't know. So anyways, I clicked all the links. So I clicked this link. This is one of the links. Gene Zetterman. And I read the whole story on him. It's all gone. This is all gone. His picture's gone. Everything's gone. I read it yesterday. I was
So
doing
is
my
this
research.
the expert that you're talking about? That's his name
Yeah.
right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
It
Eric
says
was asking
Jehovah's
in the
Witnesses
comments.
in Japan.
Oh, wow.
So I clicked "Who are we?" and it gave a whole Jehovah's Witness story. I said to this guy, "You must be a Jehovah's Witness," because I thought he was. The way this was pitched, this guy looks like a JW. Because I wanted to know about him, and it's all about him, who we are. You know, if I click it, all about us. This is all about us. So I'm thinking this guy is a JW. You know who we are, right? He's a JW. So I'm going down I'm doing more research. Okay, this one, I looked at that. Gene Zetterman. Now, everyone out there on that has clicked this picture, they can be my witness. They have seen this guy's picture. It's gone. You know why it's gone? Yesterday, my good wife, I said, send him an email from XJW TV, and I want to ask him. So we emailed him. XJW TV. We sent him an email. My email's right here. If I just put it up there, someone wants to know how to get a hold of me. Well, we don't
Oh,
use
yes,
hard
I saw
mail
it in the
anymore.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't use hard mail anymore. We use email, right?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. So I know it doesn't look like a real email, but it is. You just plug in xjw.tv. It's mail. Is it mail at? I did that wrong. I think it's mail at xjw.tv. There's the address. So mail at xjw.tv. So we emailed this guy, and then I went on it today, and his picture's gone. And I thought there was more writing here. I didn't I was going to make a video on it. So good thing I didn't. I wanted to email him first. I wanted to find out how he's affiliated, see what he says if they email me back. I was curious about getting paid as a lobbyist, or is he a Jehovah's Witness doing it for free? That's what I was wondering, you know? So apparently he's working on all of this stuff. This stuff you just talked about, that letter in Norway, he's working on that as well. Here's his letter. The child is a subject of rights and autonomy, protection against violence. This is Gene Zermatten. So he's an expert. This is a 26 page document he's put together. I can pin it all. And he's written this for Jehovah's Witnesses. So then I go further, and in my YouTube, go further. This is interesting. I got this comment going, God makes it grow. And I got looking at this. We look at everything. This is what we do full-time, folks, if you're wondering. And we listen to the comments. Now, this is interesting. This is a little movie. What's this Machu Picchu? This is a place, it's actually a spiritistic place in Peru, and the Incas. Yeah, they do devil worshiping up there, and it's out of place on the wall. You got a picture of these nature pictures. Why wouldn't you have a flower? You know, if you're going to have that picture, you might as well have a picture of the pyramids on the wall. And why would a little kid have those kinds of pictures? You see,
Wow.
so then I went and did a little bit more research. This is subtle programming. This is maybe the demons letting us know. I went and looked at this place and I went and looked at they talk about it quite a bit on JW.org, but no pictures. I couldn't see any pictures. You know, JW.org likes to put stuff out like they know it all.
Yep.
Well, they talk about this place as being spiritistic themselves. And
Wow,
they give
crazy.
history on it. It's the Incas, right? Remember the Incas used to rip the hearts out of people and stuff like that too. Some of these cults, they're cults, right? But here Jehovah's
Right.
Witnesses talk a lot about it, and the little girl has that picture. That there's no pictures. I couldn't find it on their website unless it's on the magazine. But I started going through how the Incas lost their golden empire. You can do the research. They
Yeah,
talk
that's
about it a
very
little bit, but
interesting.
why would it be on the wall of that little girl's room? Right? It's out
Yep.
of place. So, you know how we found the demon on the governing bodies under the table the other day?
Hmm.
Did you see that? The demon in the
No.
governing body? Okay, well, here we'll do that next. So, anyways, I'm looking at Gene Zitterman. Is he a JW? Couldn't find anything. So finally, I'm looking at this Wikipedia. Well, Gene Zitterman, he's a specialist of children's rights. Here he is. We can't hide this stuff. He's the son of a Swiss writer. So he comes from an educated family. And here he is. He's the chairman. Isn't the chairman like the boss? One of the bosses? Well, he's the chairman of the UN Committee on the Rights of a Child. He's right into the UN, this guy. This is what he is. Right down here, he's a member of the UN Committee for the Rights of a Child since 2005. He was elected as a chairperson of this UN treaty body in May 2011. And in 2007, he received the title Doctor's Honoris Causa from the University of Fribourg. And Gene Zetterman also contributed to the draft law projects. So this guy is high up. This is not a nobody. He is high up on the UN. I think it's important that everyone knows that. He didn't want me to know about it. We emailed him. He pulled his picture off. But guess what? He's all over Jehovah's Witness stuff, family life. He wrote this article. I think he wrote it. You can just see. Zetterman, Jehovah. It's all over this article. We'll put his name into it. That's what I do.
Oh wow. So it's like they have infiltrated.
His name in.
Oh
See how
wow. This is like
comes up. So here he is. He's Professor Gene Zitterman. He comes up on this article, and Jehovah's in it 27 times. You'd think he's a Jehovah's Witness. So now I put in Jehovah 27 times. Here's a guy. He's the head of the UN chairman on the children, according to children. And this is what he says: Jehovah's Witnesses see their children as precious gifts. Education authorities from around the world confirm that Jehovah's Witness parents are caring and loving parents. He just says the same old thing over and over again. Jehovah's Witness parents who have children in our schools are dedicated and collaborate, blah, blah, blah. He's talking like he's a Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witnesses live as far as they possibly can. We can say with certainty that Jehovah's Witness students are exemplary. What about what about the suicide rate? He doesn't talk about that, right? 10% higher than normal people. He goes on and on, right? ECR, he talks about that. The ECR has repeatedly confirmed that it is entirely lawful for parents who are Jehovah's Witnesses, and by extension, parents belonging to other religions, to provide their children with religious education. Anyways, he's a JW. Anyways, that's that article, folks. This would be good for someone like Blue Envelope to do a deep dive in this guy.
Oh
But
wow.
here's the picture. He thinks he can hide, but you can't hide in the internet. You can take your picture off JW sites. But here's the guy, the UN guy, Gene Zermatten.
Wow.
Your name wrong, Gene. But he's a lobbyist. He's a writer. He doesn't work for free, this guy. He's a specialist right here. He's a specialist of children's rights. They hire him. I asked him. He won't reply. So I have to assume, Gene, if you're not replying, you're making a shitload of money off JW.org, and all the dumb rank and files are paying your salary.
Right.
What a farce. What a farce. All this Japan stuff. This guy, he's a UN. A UN. Now, I went into the internet and I thought, well, maybe there's not a lot of guys with his expert opinion. So I plugged in expert opinion on children in the Netherlands, and holy shit, he doesn't come up once. But there's so many other places, parent TV, kindergarten children, opinions. See, there's all kinds of places for experts on child support. But what did Jehovah's Witnesses choose? They chose the most expensive guy out there, but they chose, this is what's important for us, any of us. It's important to note they chose the guy at the UN. And everyone's had a suspicion. They were members of the UN. You think of this, the New World Order, one or government. This is Jehovah's Witness religion. This guy loves it. This guy thinks I got 8.8 million followers. We can move them into the UN. It fits our role. We want one religion. We want one government. We want robotic people. We want to build little robots. They want to take away all our Indian tribe stuff up here in Canada and all over the world. It's all gone. They want one world religion. Everything else is demonized. And we got to stand out for this. We got to talk about it. We're activists. JW.org is in deep. They're in deep. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I think this is that they are doing the oldest play in the playbook. It's like they hire people who are going to be leaning to their narrative that agree with them. They're not going to get an opposite viewpoint or present the other side of the story. Maybe that person is a paid Watchtower operative, somebody who they are paying to say good things about them. I mean, I can't believe that. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
He's a specialist. This is what he does for a living. And he's in the UN.
These types of people are dangerous. This is the type of evil that we talk about, especially when it comes to the government. The government does the exact same thing. They have all of these feds, posing as good people, and then they entrap you into committing a crime or whatever. That's exactly what I'm seeing here, just in a religious viewpoint. Is they're hiring these people they look good on the outside, say nice things, they most likely get paid for it, and then he doesn't care what the repercussions can be for regular Jehovah's Witnesses. You're painting a cult to look so good that can possibly harm people in the future, because they think, based on your opinion, that this is a good religion because he's saying a lot of good things. And they probably don't do enough research. They're going to take the advice from an expert and they're going to run with it. And this is why I don't listen to experts anymore. I don't listen to people who claim to have all this education and higher education. Like, sometimes it's a turn off, because I can't trust these people when they have a hidden agenda because they're getting paid for it.
I wanted to go back to this cartoon. It just blew me away, this one.
Oh yeah, that is shocking. That is disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to be for kids, right? It's the same thing when the mainstream media starts making cartoons or like stuff for kids, and then they insert a sexual joke or a double meaning joke, and it's supposed to be like a show for kids. I hate that. Like, why would you put something that's supposed to be for kids? Even if it is something like this, why put something like that? Because then the parents are going to see it, right? The adults are going to see it. If you don't know any better, you're not gonna bat an eye to what we just found out. Like, that's just scary.
See, I put in that place in witchcraft, and it is one of the places in the world, where people do witchcraft. It doesn't mean it was originally designed for that. They designed it to farm land away up in the mountains. It's actually quite brilliant.
Right.
To go check it out. So you can look at it, but there is a bit of spirituality with it. It's called the energy vortex of Mother Earth. Kind of like what the Indians believe in up here in this country.
Yep.
I was going to show you something. You go to Jehovah's Witnesses website, you plug in governing body, and up comes this frequently asked questions. What is the governing body? So we open that, and we just kind of look through this, and then we go to another thing, right? So one of the people on Joe and Fran's show said, take a look at the picture. You see the face there, right around there where my cursor is? There's a face there.
Oh, you did a video on this.
So here's the face. It's right there. It's a boogeyman's face. face of a demon. There's hands coming here. There's something going on here. Something like this is the back of someone's skull here. If you look through here, they're like the artists were having fun, but this is the governing body. Did the governing body tell the artists to put a demon under the table? You know, as a do you think they do that, or did the governing body not know about it, or did Satan do it? It's got to be one of the three,
Wow.
right? Someone
Yeah, it
knows
looks like
about
he's
this.
blowing. Like, it looks like that smoke is coming from his mouth because I could see like a nose and lips, a
Yeah,
chin, like a
yeah, it
side
does look like
profile.
smoke. I never
Yeah,
seen that.
yeah, like he's blowing smoke over the people on the table there.
Do they think that's God's spirit? I think it's a demon. Like, what did they put that there for?
Yeah,
Interesting, eh?
oof, this kind of scares me, legitimately, because I never saw this before. You know what I mean? Like you're under that spell and you don't see these things, but when you're woken up and you start seeing these messages and
Yeah.
subliminal messages, and that's exactly why I like Quinn Wright's channel, because he does do this type of stuff and he's really accurate and on point with it. So I'm sure he's probably covered this. If he hasn't already, we should suggest it, because the way he does it is amazing. And I saw your video and when you talked about this as well, that is
Mhm.
scary right there. That's scary.
Well, it's demonic. It's a demonic in one form or another, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around who did this. Did the governing body instruct their art department to do this?
No, I don't think so. I think the art department itself has been compromised.
Woke up.
Yeah, something happened there.
Maybe someone in the art department knows that the governing body is hiding things under the table, like CSA. That's easy, right, to figure that one
Mhm.
out. You wake up inside the organization, you've been in there all your life. That's all you go for breakfast every day. What would I do if I wasn't here? You and I live on the outside. We know how to make a living. We know how to cook our own breakfast and wash our own clothes. They don't. They lived their
Mhm.
whole life in Bethel from a kid. Their parents got them in there. They got in the art department. Maybe they're 30, 40 years old. They woke up. They've been in there for 40 years. And they're going, holy crap, I don't know how to do anything on the outside. I have no insurance. I have no CCP. If I
Right.
tell anybody, I'll be like that guy that you talk about out in Zimbanzik.
Oh
Zimbabwe.
yes.
Yeah. They kick you out in your face and then they make you look like a criminal. That's what they do. So here's what the art department's doing. Maybe they woke up. They know that there's badness going on under the table. They know that a woke person will see this. Maybe JWs are too blinded. I don't know. But now that we're broadcasting it and they're all watching, maybe they'll change this picture too. They got rid of what's his faces off
Yep.
our. They got rid of this guy, Gene Zermatten. Why did they pull his face off of here? Off here, right here. They pulled it off overnight. We sent him an email. They pulled his face was right here, right there. This face here.
Wow.
They pulled it off overnight. This guy. I think it was the black and white face that was on there. They used the
Mhm.
black and white face. But maybe someone watching this show seen it who did Reddit. They can
Mhm.
comment. That'd be interesting. JW Org is playing some games here with everyone, and it's um, I don't think they're getting away with it. I don't think they're getting away.
Right.
But anyways, we're doing our part. What do you have for news? Anything else?
So the last little story that I was gonna give was a personal one. So I was scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and I have been a part of the Liberati group on Facebook ever since Joe and Fran have been really advertising it to us. So I haven't been on there long, and there's a lot of people from New York that are in that group, and I'm not really on it. Don't really go on Facebook that much. But yesterday, I scrolled through and I saw a post, and I read the guy's name, and I said, I think I recognize this guy's name. So I first read the message that the person was writing, the post, very heartfelt messages. I click on his name. I see all of his posts that were on the Liberati, and I start reading this, and I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing. Like I feel like I need to look a little into him a little deeper, right? So I click view his profile, and I could not believe that this guy is a ex-JW, that is awake, recently awake. We grew up in the same Kingdom Hall, and I recognized his name by just randomly scrolling through Facebook. If I would have never went to on Facebook yesterday, I would have never known or reconnected with this childhood friend. So that was my little piece of news, that I have found a mentally out, physically out. I mean, he still lives at home. He has to be around the Jehovah's Witnesses, but he doesn't go anymore. Like, he's awake to the cult, and he's talking against them, and he's telling his story. And I commented so quickly, and I said, I can't believe I found you in, out of all places, on an XJW Facebook group. And I said, tomorrow I want to talk to you. So tomorrow's today. We were texting this afternoon, and we finally caught up. We reconnected, and he said that he's free. He's free. He's not bound to this cult anymore. He talks to his family still, so that's a good thing. He's not being shunned, but he asks them questions. Like, he tries to help them think. He wants to at least, help them realize how certain things don't make sense. Like, softly but surely trying to, slowly get to the point that this is a cult, right? But he hasn't really outed himself like that yet, but he is in the XJW community now. So he is in our community. He's awake. He's from New York City, actually where King Tony lives, in Brooklyn. So I called my cousin and I said, you're not going to believe who I found. I found so-and-so on Facebook. So we're going to all get together, and we're going to just like continue talking, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, reconnect and keep that friendship, because I never spoke to him ever again. Like, I've never saw him again. We just drifted. You grow up, you move around, and I thought I would never see these people again in my life. And I couldn't believe that I found this guy, and we're talking now. Oh, you're muted, Vern. You're muted. Say that again, that last part.
Thank you. What that reminds me of, Ruby, is you never want to diss your old friends too hard, because they just might show up on our doorstep one day, and they might say, I've been watching some of your old movies, and boy, you dissed me pretty hard. How would you feel? Right? I already unmuted.
Yeah, no, he's
So I know there's
awake.
a little bit of a delay. Yeah, so it's I always like to go back. It's Heaven's 11 right now that we want to focus on. Heaven's 11. They're the culprits. Heaven's 11. Jody Jadell. Who's the other guy? Rolf, the real estate guy. Ralph. What's his last name? I don't remember.
I'm
I
bad
don't
with names. Sorry.
memory. I don't. I only categorize to memory important names.
Yep.
But there's the two guys, right? The ones in real estate. We just read about them today. Um, it's he's suing. He did a civil suit, right? Just 24 days ago. Watchtower pulled that up. And now he's in the governing body. He just did a civil suit not too long ago. Where is that one? One of the 7 girls. Yeah, there you go. Jody Jadell. Here he is. Jody Jadell. Yeah,
Yep.
and he just did the lawsuits. He's been in with these lawsuits here. $300, but it was $1,000 or something. Someone didn't pay their rent. And so he's got to go after him. He's got all this property, right? He's the owner. That's his security. That's how these guys can go into the liquor store and buy $1,000 worth of scotch.
Yeah.
Most
And
real estate
supposedly
guys,
he's anointed, right? So he's anointed.
Yeah.
But he's kicking out people for not paying rent.
No, these guys, I think the more we humanize these people in front of the audience, the better it is for JW. If I was a JW coming out, I need to see that these guys are humans, but I most of all need to see that they're liars and they don't take oaths of poverty. That's all BS. These guys got money. This guy's got I don't know how many millions of dollars worth of property he has, but you see, nothing can be hidden anymore. The internet's out there, Jody, Jadelle. We're going to find everything on you. Don't worry. You see, I think I also believe in the Bible a bit. I think God will reveal all things when it's due. I think the world is a stage said that, something like that. You know, a lot of people feel the same on the channel. You know, why are they allowed? Well, I don't know. I don't run the show. I just report on it. Right? We don't run it. We just report on it. GW
Right.
News. What
Yeah,
else do you have
spreading the
for us?
message.
You have another news article?
Yeah, well, not article, but last news. And for me, I'll wrap it up because last week we talked about that I was really like scared about this election that just passed, and I was throwing a watch
Mhm.
party, and a couple of people joined us for like the first ever XJW election night watch party. So a lot of us witnessed history together. And so, I mean, I think everybody knows, if you don't know already, Donald Trump won the 2024 election. And I'm going to, I mean, even though the election is over, I'm definitely going to continue doing my political show. I'm going to continue talking about this types of stuff. We're going to see how the next 4 years are going to pan out. And that piece of news did not go well with a lot of people. I know a lot of people have either been disappointed or angry or sad that this election went the way it went, especially with the percentage of demographics that have voted. I started noticing a lot of people talking about that. But that's a good thing. Don't let this election, even if you are disappointed, don't let it stop you from continuing to talk to the other side, to people who you disagree with, to people who have different opinions. Don't let that stop you. You know what I mean? Like, continue to be interested, continue to do your research, and continue to ask questions. It's always a good thing to keep that line of communication open. So I just want to extend my hand, my time to anybody who feels weird or awkward about this election. Like, a lot of people feel uncomfortable, but I'm definitely still going to be a voice and a listening ear to everyone. I don't care what, what side you're on or what political leanings you have. Don't be afraid to continue to be opinionated and to talk about that. Because a lot of people just want to wipe their hands and block or unfriend or whatever. And there are justifications for those types of things. If you strongly feel like this about somebody and you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I have to protect my mental health. I understand it. I get it, because I had to do the exact same thing. But don't let it stop you from like keeping your mind open is my advice to the chat. Don't let that stop you. Don't get so angry that you're just gonna cut yourself from everything and be like, like, get rid of this. Don't do that. Be here for the next 4 years so that we have something to debate or talk about, or even hold the Trump administration accountable for whatever things that they do if it's unconstitutional. You know what I mean? Like, don't let this stop you. Where politics is going to come and go, politicians are going to come and go, but don't let go of your friends and your family just because you have a difference of political opinions. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Gonna unmute. Thanks, Ruby. That was great. And we were running Simul broadcasting, what we do on StreamYard, because we share the channel. We were simultaneously broadcasting the political on our channel, Fixing My Faith. So now we won't be carrying it anymore now that the election is over. And now that Trump won, I got to get prepared to pay tariffs.
Yes, so that's a good announcement. If you do want to continue that, watching the show, you would have to go to my channel only. So it would only stream on my channel. So if you want to put notifications on for that so you don't miss it, we are gonna just do it on my channel, and then Vern's channel is gonna open up that time slot to maybe another show. I am in talks with Vern and Shauna of another XJW YouTuber who wants to do a live show. She's a therapist and she provides her services and resources and her time. Like, she's really great, and I think you guys know her. So I'm gonna keep it under wraps for now so that we can create like anticipation for it. But I'm definitely glad that you two are going to connect, and maybe she'll have a live show. Who knows?
No, that'll be great. And thanks, Ruby, for taking that time slot. And actually, I think it's good for us XJWs to look a little bit at politics, open our minds up to it a bit. And the politics, I don't know, you can take it as good or bad. JW Org painted it out as a wild beast, the 10 horns riding on the scarlet colored wild beast, right? Wild beast. But boy, when you look at it, they're in bed so heavy with the UN, the wild beast. It makes you wonder. But politics, when I read politics in the Bible, it says you can listen to them for the good. It says they're run by God. I don't know. That's what it says. It says that in Romans so clearly. And if you're taking a stand against it, but then what about all these other countries? Okay, how do you reconcile that? Are we living in the Bible country, so it makes us think that our politics is the only one that doesn't stink under the Christian envelope? Is that how that's all built to read? You know, if I was reading a Muslim Bible, maybe it would say that my politics are the best in the world, right? You see, how do we reconcile all these nations of people all over the world? We have the Christian Bible, the Muslim Bible, those are the two bigger ones, and India, you know, Buddhism, all of these various different beliefs and ways of thinking. How do we reconcile that with the God of the universe? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I mean that's really interesting because sometimes a lot of people say, oh, church and state should be separate, but then sometimes those laws or morality or people take their background or their religious beliefs and they incorporate that into legislation. So I mean it happens. We've seen it. So that's why I kind of say, even though I agree with that, we should separate. There should not be like a state church. You know what I mean? Like it should not be run by the state. Well, you still have to think about who you're voting for, because you're going to vote for that person. And, if they are Christian or non-Christian, they're going to vote according to their conscience. And that also plays into their religious beliefs. What do they believe in? So sometimes you can't really separate it. You really have to do your research, and you have to vote for the person based on their policies, not their background, not their religious background, not their gender, not their age, not their race. Look at that policy and then vote according to your conscience, how you feel you should vote. You see, that's why I say don't close your mind to it just because you're angry that it didn't go your way, because you still have to vote in your local governments, in your states, in your capital, like in local elections. That is more important than even the president, because your local elections is who's going to pass the laws in your state. And depending on what state you live in, you have to abide by those laws, right? And if you don't agree, like Gigi says, you have to vote with your feet and move away. And then some people get angry about that, like, oh, my state is red, I'm going to have to move out of here. My state is blue, I'm going to have to move out of here. Well, I mean, that's the freedom you have in America. So, you just have to change your thinking sometimes, or your perspective, or it's like, okay, now I learned my lesson, I'm going to vote another way now. You know what I mean? Like, this is a learning curve. It's a learning experience. Don't stop now. We have so much more ahead of us than just the next 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm optimistic, I'm happy, and I'm going to continue discussing that on my channel.
So what I do, thank you, Ruby, for explaining that. Now, what I do is I take things a little, I go out, yeah, what the hell is going on with this? The UN, right? Now, this is just one guy in the UN. Now, if you research the UN, everyone, they want a world government. They want one world government. They want one world religion. I was researching the one world religion. The Catholics are in it. There's a lot of people in it. And what do Jehovah's Witnesses want? They want one world religion. They want one world government.
Yep.
That's the doctrine that we've been reading about. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses have been part of the UN since the beginning. Now, why make them a wild beast at the beginning? Have they made them a wild beast? I bet you they may retract all those Revelation books. They're in bed with this guy. If this guy reads the Revelation book, he's going to look at JW Org and said, what's wrong with you guys teaching your kids this shit? And this is what this Gene Zimmermatten has to look at, the Revelation book. The Revelation book. He's the chairman of the UN. We were calling him the scarlet colored wild beast. This guy is a scarlet colored wild beast. I was
Yep.
trained that. I read that book 3 times, studied it 3 times while I was in there since the 80s. And this guy is a scarlet colored wild beast. He's dirt. That's how I would view him as a JW. But
Right.
here the JWs are in bed with him. What is
Yep.
going on here with this religion, folks? Do you know? Is it
I don't think
apostate
they
or
care. I don't think he cares
is this
to
the
read.
original design?
Yeah, yeah. If you're getting paid for it, you're gonna do whatever it takes, or do whatever whoever's paying you. You're gonna do what they say because they're paying you. He's bought and paid for. That's what I would call
They
him. He's
the
bought and
choice
paid
to
for.
hire hundreds of other child therapists. Hundreds. This guy doesn't even meet the list. He's not even at the top of it. He doesn't even show up on Google as a therapist. But they focused in on the UN and this particular guy because there's something going on here, folks. We'll see. We'll have to just wait it out. See what happens.
Yeah.
What else? Do you have any other news? I got one other piece of news that's not really
I
news.
think that's it for me. I think I covered everything that I wanted to. I would include those links in the comment section after the live stream is over. I encourage everybody to join that Liberati group, join these platforms of XJWs, because you never know, you might find an old friend like I just did last night. It was really amazing. And I'm happy that he's free. You know what I mean? Like, he is free. And it is so nice to talk to somebody who you grew up with, or that you went to the same hall, and you reconnect, and you can gain more friends than just us. You know what I mean? Like, you could possibly gain a childhood friend back. I thought I would never see these people again, or talk to my childhood friends, because they already have this image of me of like, oh, well, she left and she did what she wanted to do. And, like, if I'm arrogant, or, like, if I disrespected Jehovah by doing whatever, like, I'm selfish. You know what I mean? Like, they start with this stuff that I never thought that would talk to people like this. So I encourage you guys to get active in the XW community, and you might find a friend.
Yeah. Do your Google reviews on your Kingdom Hall if you're out. If you can. Not everyone can show their face and do that kind of stuff. I get it. If you can do we don't do protests, we do invites. If you can go to the nearest assembly, hold up a
Yeah.
sign, XW friends, we invite you to it. Do that.
Yeah.
It's an invite. Help the
Oh,
ones coming out.
yeah. Oh,
You
Vern,
know,
the
we
signs you
help.
were making.
Yeah, just take a felt pen, make your own sign, go and stand at the gate as they drive out on Sunday. And it's an hour of your time. You stand there, you invite them to the community, Joe and Franz, our channels, however you want to do it. Invite them. We're not protesting. Invite the ones that want to get out. Show them that there's a community. There's a whole bunch of us on the outside. We're all just people that woke up. And we
Right.
woke because lots of things, lots of reasons. The same reason you're waking up, perhaps. You want to see a picture of me when I just woke up? Now, I'm
Sure.
61 years old. I was 49 years old. I had not met Shauna yet. And this
Okay.
was one of my first YouTube videos I put out. I quit the religion. I left Spruce Grove. I said I put my house up for sale. I flew back from the Arctic after doing the work with the Bethel people, the assigned territory guys. They came up. Him and his wife came up. I flew them up. They didn't come up. They have no money. They said, we have no money. If you could fly us up. So I flew them up, paid everything. And they were the hardest workers I've ever had. They earned every bit of it. I love
Wow.
those people. I went to Bethel to meet Jonathan. He wouldn't come out. He wouldn't come out of the woodwork, but they let us in, Bethel, on our tour. I was looking for him, but he woke me up. He said, no one in this world can stop you from preaching, Vern. It's wrong. Just preach. Just don't listen to him. That's what he told me, the elders. I went back and I thought, this is wrong. This is a bullshit organization. Got a 30-year-old telling me that, who works in Bethel, never got his feet wet, never ever went into unassigned territory, but yet he's managing it. And I told him that, get your feet wet, come on out and see what it's all about. Him and his wife loved it. They're young, right? I was this age, 49. So I came back, put my house up for sale. It sold in a week, moved out to the farm. My folks were sitting on all this peat moss and they were burning it. And I bought the farm. My dad was losing it to a tax sale. I bought it out from foreclosure, and we started selling peat moss. Why burn this stuff? You guys are causing an environmental hazard, burning peat moss. So I'll play you 2 minutes of my very first video that I put on YouTube. And I don't have it on the YouTube channel anymore, but the YouTube channel shows 2012. And this video was put out, it was copied by Alberta's #1 organic topsoil, black dirt and peat moss mixture company. Shauna did all that work. After I met Shauna, I shut the business down. Actually, after this video, I shut the video. We moved a bunch of peat moss, but I went through a divorce. So I moved all the equipment back to the farm, went through the divorce. My ex-wife, who was a Jehovah's Witness, still is a Jehovah's Witness today in good standing. She left me with the track hoe driver that dug the hole you're going to see in the video.
Wow.
It was the neighbor, the Hutterite. I hired the Hutterite. Anyways, I laugh about all this. It doesn't bother me. It had to happen. If all of these things didn't happen in my life, I could not be on this channel with such conviction, in so many ways, so many levels. So it is what it is. And you'll notice, I'm 61. I was 49 in this video. When we're a Jehovah's Witness, we carry a lot of excess weight. And we carry it in our flesh.
Yeah.
And when we get out, we just shed it. It just sheds. And I don't know how it works, but that's how it works. Yep. So anyways, I wanted to say thank you, Ruby. You've done a great job in the politics. And by the way, when it comes to politics, like I said, the Bible does talk about politics. It says try to work with them. Up in Canada, we're trying to work with ours. One thing I do know, and I do know that Trump isn't going to be too kindly to the UN, because last time he was giving them shit about all the money they owe him because of all the war support they're giving. They owe him a lot of money. The US, you guys, the US citizens, and Canada also owes you guys money. He went after Trudeau. You guys don't even have 2 jets, old obsolete junk. Why? Because we rely on the US. So if the US has to tariff us, it is what it is. I'd rather pay a few more tariffs than be in bed with North Korea, right? North Korea with all the missiles they're shooting, that guy. Could you imagine being on his military? Well, that's kind of like Hitler, right? So sometimes we need a strong ally or a strong partner. And sometimes maybe the God in the universe says, you know what? Holy shit, they're trying to make a one world government. They're trying to make a tower. They're trying to build this Tower of Babel again. I'm going to have to knock it down. Let's let Trump run for 4 years and knock this shit down. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just in this for the ride. Let's just ride it.
Yeah, I'm here to watch the next 4 years. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be here.
Well, let's ride this, and we don't have to watch other TV programs to have breakdowns on this. We can watch our own, give our own opinion. But here's Vern, 49 years old.
Wow.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll play this at the end of the show, and we're going to close our show down like we normally do, and then I'll put this video on. How does that sound?
Okay, then bye, guys, in the chat.
Okay. We'll see you guys. We'll see you on the next show.
Bye.
Okay, well, here's our closing. Do we have any? Oh, yeah, we have a couple of closers. Here we are. We'll play Ruby's and mine. Here we go. Okay. This is how we do it. See you guys later. I'm with Hoole Brothers Industries. And today we brought you out to our stockpile of black soil and peat moss. Now, if you look around here in this country, we literally have miles and miles of peat moss and black dirt mixed together, stockpiled in these windrows. You see, the problem up in this end of the woods is that our topsoil out here is too thick. It's measured in feet, not inches. So what we have to do to turn this into farmland is we have to peel off some of the topsoil and we windrow it in these windrows, and then we can farm it in between. And so the object here is we want to move out some of this topsoil that's been sitting here for about 10 to 15 years. And now it's decomposed. It's turned into #1 garden mix topsoil. So let's go take a look at this topsoil. So as you can see here, what we did is we brought a track hoe in and we just dug a hole just in the middle of one of these furrows of black dirt. I'm going to show you what kind of dirt this really is. Just come on in here and take a close look. As you can see, the dirt is all dry. We have about a few inches of sod at the top. Some of it still has a little bit of frost on it, so that's not a big problem. So we peel off the top, and underneath here, we have all this black dirt. Now, if you look at get a close look here at the organic material, you see the root system that's growing in here? What that tells us is that this topsoil is very, very fertile, and it's ready for growing. There's very, very few sticks in here. After 15 years of laying in these furrows, any little sticks that were in here, they're all rotted and all decomposed. Let's just look at this. This soil is ready. No screening really necessary. You take that with your landscaping equipment, and that will work right into landscaping. Some farmers may use it on their clay spots to build up the soil, to put more of an organic matter in, and it could be used for anything. So over here at Hoole Country, give us a call. My name is Vern Hoole. My number is 780-271-9490.
Hey.
The phone number doesn't work anymore. It's an old video on someone's site. I just found it today. It was funny. I was Googling myself because I was Googling that other guy. I thought, well, what comes up if I Google myself? So that video came up. I pulled it off my site long ago, all that stuff, because we sold it all. We actually gave the business away and sold the equipment is what we did. It was a green energy company. Farmers, the Hutterites, everyone was burning their peat moss, creating a hazardous, so we started scraping it up and selling it. And we made a living off that for quite a few years, 10 years. Sean and I, 8 years, anyways. So that's kind of the rest of the story. Okay, folks, we'll see you later. Thanks for sticking at it. I noticed 41 of you wanted to see the story. So we'll see you on the next video. We love you all.